Back on HQ, taking a look at some notable quarterback performances. How could we forget Arch Manning? We now live in a world where he will get a start. That is this coming week, but on in relief of the injured Quinn Ewers, 223, 4 passing touchdown, and that dazzling long touchdown, longest since Vince Young by a Texas Longhorn. Jalen Milroe getting it done at Camp Randall, and your Heisman favorite, Cam Ward, running it up against Ball State. All-American marks every weekend for the preeminent voice in the sport. Tom Fornelli of Cover 3 fame joining us with the latest player power rankings. I'm interested to see what you did here first and foremost with the biggest impression left on you here in Week 3. Arch, hard to look away from. Is that your biggest riser?
Oh, yeah, Arch Manning was not ranked at all last week, but in true backup fashion, with Quinn Ewers going out, Arch is stepping right into the power rankings this week and taking Quinn's spot. I'd moved Quinn up to #1 in last week's rankings after a tremendous performance on the road against Michigan. And then Arch comes in, and with Quinn being out for a while, one of the rules of my power rankings, best ability is availability. So if you're not playing, I'm not ranking you. But thankfully, they have Arch right behind him. And you look at the numbers he put up in that game. Yeah, I know it was against UTSA, and they're not a great team, but to go for 223 yards passing, the 53 yards rushing, and combined for 5 touchdowns, you have to remember, he barely played 2 quarters. He came in early in the second quarter once Ewers left, and then he was out early in the fourth quarter because the Longhorns had the game in plan. So even with that kind of competition, the fact he was able to do so much in such a short amount of time while coming in off the bench cold again. It's not like he started the game. He wasn't expecting to play. I thought it was an incredibly impressive performance, and you think about it, like, what are the things about my quarterback power rankings? It's the Q score. Who's the one quarterback everybody is talking about this week? It's Arch Manning. If you look at Heisman favorite odds, Arch's odds are about the same as Ewers at this point. That's how crazy things are right now with the Longhorns. So when it was coming time to put my rankings together for the week, I couldn't think of anybody else to put at #1 but Arch Manning.
It's a great point, and I think refreshing in the sense that we watch one of these young athletes wait for their opportunity, instead chase it, and then take full advantage of it. We'll see what he looks like at the helm of those top-ranked Texas Longhorns. There were some near misses by brand names here in Week 4. Who's receiving your greatest ire, your biggest faller this week?
Yeah, Carson Beck was at #2 last week. He's dropping 6 spots down to #8. He just did not play well against Kentucky. And in his defense, really nobody on Georgia played that well. They were barely able to get out of Lexington with a win against a Kentucky team that lost by 25 the week prior to Kentucky. So it's not like this was a fantastic Wildcats team, but more than anything, they lost their starting right guard, Tate Rallage, in the game to an ankle sprain. He's having tightrope surgery. He's going to be out a while. But Carson's dealing with a shoulder injury as well. It's to his non-throwing shoulder, but you can tell it's kind of impacting him because this is a guy that ever since he stepped into that role last year has been just smooth and efficient and smart with his decision-making, accurate arm, able to throw the ball down the field. In the game against Kentucky on Saturday night, he was missing throws badly. He was spiking balls in the dirt. He was missing guys. It was just not a good performance. So for that, it's like I kind of considered taking him out, but then I remembered, oh, wait, no, he did kill Clemson a few weeks ago, so he's still pretty good. So I only dropped him to 8, but it's going to be interesting to see. They have the bye this week, so he'll have a little extra time to recover. But when they get back, it's a pretty big game. They're facing Alabama.
Yeah, just 63 yards in that first half against Kentucky for that Georgia offense. Some soul-searching and some recovery, as you said, prior to that matchup in T-Town. Take us through your top 10. Answers always, and please show your work. Your most recent power rankings looks like what?
Well, I mentioned we've got Arch at #1. Right behind him is Jalen Milroe at #2, who had a very impressive performance on the road last week against Wisconsin. Jalen's been hovering near the top of the list all season long, but to go on the road against a Wisconsin team that, you know, maybe isn't quite as good as we had thought coming into the season, but still have the 5 total touchdowns, do it both through the air and with his legs. I moved him up to #2 to replace Carson Beck. Behind him, Cam Ward, who has been rock solid ever since the opener against Florida. I mean, yes, it was against Ball State, but Cam Ward treated Ball State like you're supposed to treat Ball State when you're playing for Miami and you're a Heisman candidate. He tore them apart. So that's my top three right now. And then at number 4, a guy who moves up despite not having the greatest stat line, even though his team put up 71 points against Kent State, Nico Iamaleava. He only threw for 1 touchdown in the game. And frankly, I'll be honest with you, Joe, I'm a little mad at Josh Heupel right now. I think Nico is a contender for the Heisman, and in a game like that where your team is going to score 70 points, I mean, you were up 30-0 in the first quarter, and you ran an onside kick. So if you're willing to be that aggressive, pad some stats for your quarterback. Don't have him hand it off in the red zone for all those touchdowns. Have him toss a few. When it comes time for the Heisman votes at the end of the year, he might need an extra touchdown or 2 compared to who he's going to be competing against. So I was a little bit disappointed to see that. Hopefully this week against Oklahoma on a bigger stage, they let Nico throw some more touchdowns.
I only smile so large because I know you were a pre-IPO buyer there on Nico. We got to watch him ball out for you. I know you're holding a lot of stock right now, Tom. We appreciate you stopping by, as always, running through your power rankings, always subject to change. And no better time to join the conversation than right now. It's the Cover 3 podcast. Tom Fornelli, the whole gang, keeping you up to speed each and every day on the premier podcast in college ball. Download and follow the Cover 3